Today, the UK is mourning after the death of Prince Philip, the husband of Queen Elizabeth, passing away this morning at Windsor Castle. He was 99 years old. The Duke of Edinburgh has been by his wife's side throughout her entire 69-year reign. Fox News correspondent Greg Palkut is looking back on his life.
He was best known as the man behind the woman, literally a pace or two behind her, according to official protocol. He was Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, husband to England's Queen Elizabeth II.
I think we owe him an enormous debt of gratitude, really, for the very great help he gave the Queen.
Born in Greece in 1921 into a royal family with Danish and German ties, he was also a great-great-grandson of Britain's Queen Victoria. Came to England and went on to serve in the British Royal Navy during World War II.
Side by side.
He married Elizabeth, the daughter of then King George VI in 1947 in Westminster Abbey. 5 years later, in 1952, the king died. Elizabeth became queen. Prince Philip traveled the world, carrying out on average some 300 engagements a year. He was active in a variety of fields important to Britain, including business, the environment, the military, and sports, especially polo. He was a strict but loving father to Prince Charles, Princess Anne, and Princes Andrew and Edward.
My father was a wonderful man. He was a very brilliant man.
In an age of increasing political correctness, he was a man of good humor and a prince of plain speaking. He's best known to Americans as the person who reportedly encouraged Prince Charles to make a decision about marrying Princess Diana in 1981. At Diana's funeral, the prince walked alongside his grandsons, William and Harry.
He has received very little credit. So I think his understanding of the problems was much deeper and more shrewd, and indeed much more gentle than he has been given credit for.
In 2011, there was a happier occasion, the wedding of his grandson William to Kate Middleton. At that event, as always, he was at the side of his wife, Queen Elizabeth.
As a solid supporter, they worked very well together.
In 2012, he was also by the Queen's side for her Diamond Jubilee celebration. In 2013, he attended the christening of his great-grandson and future king, Prince George. In 2016, after marking the Queen's 90th birthday, soon making her the world's longest-reigning monarch, he marked his 95th, making him the longest-serving consort or spouse of a reigning British monarch. In 2017, at the age of 96, the prince bowed out of public life, putting in just solo engagements, including attending the wedding of his grandson Prince Harry to American Meghan Markle in 2018. They gave him another great-grandson, Archie, in 2019. Also in 2019, he got into a car accident. The prince was shaken up and turned over his car keys. Then, in February 2021, he was admitted to London hospitals for an infection and heart treatment. The next month, Harry and Meghan gave the interview to Oprah, which shook up the monarchy again. Happily, he was released from hospital after just under a month. In June, Philip was set to mark his 100th birthday. As he summed up his life in one interview, "I reckon I've done my bit." In London, Greg Palkut, Fox News.
Plans are being made now for a memorial. Prince Philip is entitled to a ceremonial funeral, the same type used to honor the Queen Mother and Princess Diana. But he told palace officials several years ago he didn't want the fuss. So he won't have a service at Westminster Abbey and he won't lie in state at Westminster Palace. He might have a small funeral at St. George's Chapel, but it likely won't include a large gathering. He will be buried at Windsor Castle.